Hello guys, it's 899 here and welcome to what is pretty much going to be the last video of 2023. And it's going to be the most controversial or the one that's going to make me eat my words so much by this time next season. 2024 is coming up and it's time to look forward to the year by making some really dumb predictions. So what I have is I've got a prediction for every single team in the NRL for 2024. Pretty bold, but this is what I think could probably happen, and probably will check in at this point next year and see how well I actually did. So without further ado, let's get into it. The Brisbane Broncos. Reece Walsh wins Dally M. Obviously this year's Dally M's were a little bit controversial because a certain Kiwi didn't win, and it was won by the best player in the comp. But obviously, new system, and looking into it, pretty much, I was even considering on who could potentially win 2024. I was even thinking like Dom Young if he had a breakout year, but the problem is though, you can only really win the Dally M if you're basically a fullback, halfback, hooker, or lock. Like realistically, those are the only positions where you can actually do it. And I feel like Brisbane, it's going to be either a feast or fire kind of season for them next year. And I feel like a player, if they do go excruciatingly well, that's going to lead him is going to be Reece Walsh. And I do think he's going to be like the main star for them. And I feel just gets enough points. I reckon he should be able to get the Dally M next year. The Canberra Raiders. Ricky Stewart sacked / final year. Basically, this pretty much is just alluding to the fact that it's either 2024 will be the final year for Ricky Stewart at the Raiders, or he will get sacked at some point. It's just, I feel the Raiders are just going to sort of nosedive. Obviously, yes, they lost Jack White, and now he's gone over to South Sydney. But I just think Canberra it just doesn't have enough. Like, I think on paper, they've got a somewhat weaker team compared to other teams in the, like, you know, who were in the finals last year. Like, obviously, Canberra still made the finals somehow. And Ricky Stewart is, like, a good coach. I mean, he took the Raiders to the Knights at probably at McDonald Jones, where it's probably the most hostile it's been in decades. But it's just, I just feel like it's just going to run out, and I just feel like they might need to change pages going into 2025. So I think this will be Ricky Stewart's final year with Canberra. The Canterbury Bulldogs will make the top 8. I swear to fucking God, if you don't make the top 8, I swear. Like, just delete club. Like, obviously, yes, the whole joke about, oh, utilities. But I genuinely feel that they've got a good squad now. And I'm only probably saying that because Kurt Mann is the best utility in the NRL. Literally, like, anyone who says that was a bad signing doesn't get rugby league. I think they have the talent to make the top 8. They just need to actually, start playing and not get absolutely blown out like they did in 2023. But hey, it's one of those things. The Cronulla Sharks ruled out of finals in final week. I think it's safe to say that the Cronulla Sharks are going to start going a little bit of a downslope into 2024. Like, they've been going down slow. Like, they came second in 2022, finished 6th in this season in 2023. I think they're just going to drop out of the finals. But they'll be in that close range, that like 7th to 11th, where it's like separated by 4 points. But I feel like they're going to get ruled out, which I think kind of can benefit them, because then they'll have to focus into 2025. That's when Adam Fanua-Blake comes into them. And then I think they should be sweet 2025 onwards, but I do think the Sharks in the final 2 weeks, but pretty much the last week, will be ruled out of making the top 8. The Dolphins will make the top 8 just. Basically, the other end of the spectrum on that is, I believe the Dolphins will make the top 8 this year. I think the squad is going to look a lot better. I'm expecting an absolute bonkers year from Valance Tavar. Obviously, he had been sent out to lose weight, but, Wayne Bennett does it to players that he actually probably thinks are going to go really well. You got Herbie Farnworth going in as well. It's going to be a very exciting time for the Dolphins, and it can really see them rising up as becoming the second best team in Queensland. Basically, they're in a bit of a tussle with the Titans, so be interesting to see how that develops. But yeah, I do think that the Dolphins will make the finals. The Gold Coast Titans hosts a home final. Now, obviously, this means they have to finish in the top 6, and I genuinely think they can do it. Obviously, it's a big gamble because Des Hasler's now the new coach, but I genuinely think they've got enough parts to work themselves in. Obviously, now fully back from his ACL injury, we should be able to hopefully see Beau Fermor back in the forward pack. And I think genuinely probably on their day, the Gold Coast Titans probably have one of the strongest forward packs in the NRL. I'll die on that hill. That's fine. But yeah, I think it's a very exciting time for the club. They're definitely making the right moves, and I do believe they will get themselves a home final. The Manly Sea Eagles. Luke Brooks will play State of Origin. Obviously, this is under the news of Michael Maguire, now the New South Wales coach, and he's specifically said he's going to focus on form. And I think a player that's going to really pop off well, especially with the Manly Sea Eagles, is Luke Brooks. You know, I think under Daly Cherry Evans, playing at 5'8", I think he can go really well, to the point where I believe he will actually be called up for State of Origin. Maybe doesn't have to be in, like, you know, game 1. It could be in game 3, where the series is done already. But I do think that Luke Brooks will play State of Origin at some point this season. The Melbourne Storm. Suafalogo wins Rookie of the Year. I mean, I feel like it's not really even that much of a bold prediction. It's basically, in my opinion, down to 2 players, Tyrone Munro and Suafalogo. But I just think Suafalogo's just got the full Monty. He's genuinely... It's weird how Melbourne can just get these players and develop them into absolute guns. Obviously, he played last round against Brisbane and basically tore Brisbane to shreds. So very excited to see if he can break in. He could even, you know, break into and get a permanent starting spot by the end of the season, which would be really great to see. So, yeah, I think Suafalogo will win the Rookie of the Year next year. The New Zealand Warriors. Top 4 or bottom 4, no in between. This could either be the most exciting or devastating time to be a Warriors fan when looking into 2024. Obviously, you got Kurt Capewell. Good. Slot him in your forward pack. We have a new Adam Fanua-Blake as well. You've got Roy Tuivasa-Sheck, or Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, sorry, coming back into the team. It's like basically the Warriors have thrown the gauntlet down saying we are going to try to win the premiership. But I just feel it's either, at the same chance of this like properly happening, they dominate, could even make the grand final. This could completely blow up on themselves and they finish bottom 4. But it'd be very interesting to see how they go. It is very much an exciting time to be a Warriors fan. The Newcastle Knights. Marju breaks try-scoring record set by Dominic Young. Now, the thing is interesting with the 2023 Knights season is that Marju and Dominic Young both broke the most tries in a season record. It's just Dominic Young scored 2 more tries, so he holds it. But Marju any other season would have done it. But I feel like now that Dominic Young's now at the Roosters, I feel like most of the attack will be now focusing on that partnership between Bradman Best and Greg Marju. I do feel that at least Marju could equal the try-scoring record to get 25, or he could get even higher. But I think he's just an absolute gun. I believe he should be able to break that record as well. The North Queensland Cowboys lose every game against Queensland opposition. I'm going to just be honest. I think on paper going into 2024, I think the Cowboys might have the weakest squad when it comes to Queensland. And that's not saying they've got a bad squad at all, but it's just, I think with the recruitment that the Dolphins have done, we've significantly improved them. Brisbane are the best. I think on paper are like tied with Penrith in the best team in the NRL. And you got the Titans, who I generally feel can like creep into the top end. And just like the Cowboys are just unfortunately there by proxy, and I just feel it's going to be really tough for them to try to get wins over these Queensland opposition. To the point I don't think they're going to win a game against them. You could also say that this is the most this could blow up really quickly. But it could happen. You never know. But the Parramatta Eels. Sivo ties Parramatta record for most tries in a single game. pretty much Marcus Sevo's been knocking on this door for the last couple of years, where he's gotten 3-4 tries in a game, but he hasn't gotten to 5, which is the current record held by Jamie Lyon. And I just feel, surely he doesn't. Take it if it's a game against the Dragons or something. They just keep passing the ball. Surely he gets over and scores 5. Come on. Just do it, Para. Just do it. The Penrith Panthers won't make top 2. You gotta, what can you say? What can you go as a sort of bold prediction for Penrith? It's they're gonna win another premiership. It's whoa. You gotta go with something that's I don't know, I just think teams around them are getting stronger. I don't think the Panthers are up to the same shit. Well, they haven't been for the last couple of years, but they still keep winning. But I just think they might start to falter just a tiny bit. I think someone say Brisbane and maybe even the Warriors might jump them, and Penrith, it's around 3 or 4. They're still going to be, in the second chance part of it. They're still top 4. They're still pretty good, but I just think, I don't know if they're just going to be able to creep into the top 2. Cut this when they go invincible. The South Sydney Rabbitohs won't make the finals. This is the one that's going to annoy people. If any of other of them haven't. But I just feel that, with the recruitment that Souths have done over the last couple of years, especially I just seem with the last couple of years, South Sydney have started slowly deteriorating to the point where they didn't even make the finals last year, and it's just, I feel all they've done is they've brought in Jack Wine, but I just can't see anything that gives clear evidence that they're actually going to improve and make the finals. I know I've even seen some people thinking they're going to go toe for toe and go and make the distance and make the grand final, but it's kind of like with the Roosters last year. They got Brandon Smith in and everyone all of a sudden expected them to shoot right up the top of the ladder. And for the longest period of time, they looked like they were going to just miss out on the finals, and I was going to have the greatest prediction known to man. But, we got to beat South Sydney. Came into effect, and they went on actually a really good run and just missed out on the prelim final by 2 minutes. But I just think that there's just not enough evidence for me to honestly say that South Sydney are going to make the finals. There's nothing for me that actually says that they're going to do it. The St. George Illawarra Dragons wins only 4 games. I think it's going to be pretty evident that a lot of people are going to have the St. George Illawarra Dragons to come last this year. Kind of like how they did, again, the previous year, but I just think, it's pretty much if a team other than St. George win the wooden spoon this year, oh boy. I think that St. George might crack a couple of wins, but I only see him winning 4, at max. The Sydney Roosters will still miss the top 4. The Roosters definitely started really late last year. And I just feel like they could do this sort of a similar thing again. But there's a lot of signs that could prove them going to minor premiers and stuff like that. Obviously, you got Dominic Young, Spencer Leniu joining the team. But it's just, I think that the top teams are still going to be really tough to crack for them. And I think they might come 5th. They'll just miss out on top 4. Which is still a good position. They're making their way up, and hell, they could go on a longer run and somehow maybe crack a grand final. Be cool to see. But I just don't think they're there just yet. And finally, the West Tigers will not concede 50 points in a match for the whole season. To be fair, a lot of teams over the course of a season do end up conceding 50, and they're going to win the grand final because Newcastle decided to be zesty with it and concede 49 in 2001 and then still do it. But I just think that with the Tigers, there's a bit of freedom now, and I think under the course of Benji Marshall, I think they can start going alright. And I actually think they'll be one of the few teams that won't concede 50. For the whole season, they'll be one of the teams where they could still technically win the premiership if they wanted to. Had to film a new intro because the old one basically went on about how it was the last video of 2023, which it wasn't. But thank you all very much for watching. Let me know what you guys have as your bold predictions for this season. And let's hope for a good year for 2024. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later.